बेस में ही प्रॉब्लम है कि एक तो सबसे पहले तो विमेन में कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है, नॉलेज है भी, तो दे स्टिल थिंक दैट कि भी नहीं, मुझे नहीं पता है फाइनेंस के बारे में ज्यादा, आई शुड नॉट बी आस्किंग. दे ऑल्सो थिंक दैट इट्स नॉट देयर प्लेस ऑल टुगेदर टू आस्क.
And good afternoon to and welcome to this panel discussion. We are here with Maitri Shah, Malhar Potnis and Lipi Panchmia. So very good to have you guys here. And before we start, I would just like to introduce that what are we going to talk in this discussion. Basically, this is going to be a very interesting panel discussion where we will discuss about financial literacy. And myself, Dhwani Mehta, I am here to represent Click community. Click is basically a community which was started, it was an initiative started by young women developers to create a culture to work, co-work and network for women in the field of science, technology, engineering and management, and to break off the gender gap in the field of technology. And we want to contribute to empowering women in STEM. So right now, till date, whatever events we have done were basically in technological domain, right? It was all about technical things. But today we are here with something new. Today we are not going to discuss about technology. Today we are going to discuss about something interesting, which is finance, financial literacy, financial independence, and much more. So before wasting any more amount of time, let's just get started. So today, everybody wants to find a very good job where they are stable. Why? Because the main motive is to have a very strong and secure future, right? Everybody wants a strong and secure future investment plan. So everybody wants to have good job or good investment policies to invest in, or they want to generate revenue from their startup idea. So this Women's Day specifically, we bring together with this panel discussion to discuss about various aspects of financial literacy, where to start investment from, what is the best investment policy, and if you are a startup enthusiast, as it's going, a startup revolution is going on around, then how to find a good and best investor for your startup idea. So, and also we will talk about the success stories from our panelists who are also in the field of finance. So let me just quickly start to give a very brief introduction about our panelists. Starting with you, Maitri. Maitri, hi, how are you?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. Introducing Maitri, with an educational background in finance and an unstoppable zeal to help people, Maitri brought both the worlds together and started a community named Lakshmi, a platform that helps women to gain financial literacy and enable financial decision making and finally find financial freedom for women. So the brand Lakshmi is now collaborating with many organizations that do a kind of similar work, and she looks forward to create a far-reaching and far-lasting impact in the world. And congratulations, Maitri, for recently completing 1 year at Lakshmi. It's a very good thing to start with community, and community really has a very bright future.
Why Lakshmi finishes 1 year today itself. So last Women's Day I had started Lakshmi, and today it finishes 1 year. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Congratulations on your completion of 1 year at Lakshmi. Yes. And looking forward for many more years to go forward. Yes.
Lovely. Thank you.
Introducing our second panelist here, Malhar Potnis. Malhar is a co-founder of Earthayan, which is a startup ecosystem enabler with the aim of promoting entrepreneurship in India. Right now, I think entrepreneurship is a very good term, and all the young people are focusing to become entrepreneurs, right? So Earthayan has created a technological platform that helps investors discover startups that match their investment thesis. So I think, Malhar, you can just tell that it's basically a kind of connect between startup and investors, right?
Yes. So, I think it's been 1 year for us as well, starting
nice.
and things seem to be going pretty well. And we are receiving fabulous response from founders all across the country. So seeing where it goes.
Yeah, definitely it will reach a very good heights, and congratulations on your 1 year completion also. Hereby introducing our third panelist, Lipi Panchmia. Lipi is a chartered accountant with bachelor's degree in commerce, and her previous roles have been in auditing and compliance. However, she is waiting to explore further in her career, and she has been with 100x VC as an analyst, portfolio management and research. She is also expanding her personal portfolio as an angel investor in startups, as well as an investor in equity market. So you are doing quite a lot of things, Lipi. So how do you manage so much? Yes.
I've just started, so it's not a lot. And I think even I have completed 1 year, by the way, because everyone is completing 1 year. So I thought even I'll say that.
Okay, so cheers to our 1 year of completion of whatever field we have gone. And I think that we all will go forward. We are looking forward to go much forward too. So nice to, actually, I am very happy to introduce you three people here. And let's start with our panel discussion. I would like to start with Maitri. I mean, community has a very good future, but and most of the people are also interested in building and being a part of a community. So what idea was there that you created this Lakshmi community for women, and what do you actually think about financial independence specifically for women in 2022?
So I think I finished my master's and I joined the company as a part of the sales team. And during my sales calls is when I started noticing that if I'm directing a question towards any particular women, कि भी आपके घर में खर्चा कितना होता है and accordingly कितना invest करना है आपको, the women would either hesitate, not answer, or answer but look for validation from the male counterpart. So then that their hesitation was not only towards themselves but also towards my own work. They would always look for so when I started, I used to have my companion with me, my colleague with me. So he was a male. So in my calls, he used to be with me. So if I had a recommendation, if I had an investment product for them suitable for their needs, they would always look at him to validate कि भाई सही बोल रही है ना? Are you sure? So these small things started pinching me, and I was not okay with it. And I tried to learn more about it because my culture, mere ghar ka culture is very different. My father is also a chartered accountant, and he's also in the same field, he's also a mutual fund distributor into the portfolio management industry. So finance or money ki batein has always been there in my house. So for me to figure out that actually women are not that including in the conversation, wo thoda sa setback tha. So then I started understanding. I had conversations with my own family, my relatives, my friends, and started realizing that the base में ही problem है कि एक तो सबसे पहले तो women में confidence नहीं है, knowledge है भी, तो they still think that कि भी नहीं, मुझे नहीं पता है finance के बारे में ज़्यादा, I should not be asking. They also think that it's not their place altogether to ask. So these 2-3 pointers were there, and I thought कि basic financial literacy, basic awareness is the way to start. Because until and unless we don't tell them that this is what is needed out of you, and this is a right, this is not something that you're asking for, this is something that it's a right. You have your own right of your own money, if the money that's being earned. So that is why I started a platform where slowly and steadily we can spread awareness. And also, I also intend to bring some lightness to the subject. Finance as a subject को बहुत भारी बना दिया लोगों ने. ऐसे बोलते कि finance आता है तुमको, finance आता है. It's not that difficult once you understand the basics. It's like every other subject. अगर आपको basics पता होगा तो complex topics it's very simple. And so financial literacy, I'm also trying my best with my team that we make finance fun. So we come up with small videos and small articles where we try and find, funny things, relate them to Bollywood, relate them to TV shows. So the entire objective to begin with is to spread awareness and literacy, but ultimately has to be towards financial independence, where actually women start saving and investing also.
Yes, it's a very, very nice motive. And I think that it's really much needed thing. I mean, there are many things which are starting up, but this is some motive which is actually very needed. And I think that, yeah, women out there are listening to this and they also know about financial literacy and financial independence as well. I would like to ask Malhar that actually starting any startup is very risky. I mean, not only in terms of money, but also whether it will succeed or not. So I would like to know that when did you start investing and what is your success story to create a startup? I mean, it's very difficult and it's with so much progressive and abundant ideas about the startups which are coming on day by day, right? So to know that whether it will last for a longer run, it's very quite risky thing. And the most risk comes that whether anybody will invest for your startup or not. So how did you actually start everything and find the investors, and what was your success story as a whole?
So I would say that, I mean, since we have just started out, the success story is yet to come. I wouldn't go so far as to say that we are successful already. And, I think as for the question about investors, the fundamental point I would like to address over here is that as founders, we need to be prepared to invest in our startup to begin with, right? So as you may have seen the trends that there are not many investors in India who will invest in idea stage startups as of now. You have to start something, you have to generate a proof of concept, get a few paying customers for that matter, generate some kind of early traction, and then you can hope to approach certain investors who would be interested in supporting you. But apart from that, there are two different types of business models. One fundamentally needs external capital to kickstart, and then there are some other types of businesses where you can start out with a small working capital, and the customers that you gain kind of propel your growth going forward. So asking me about financial literacy or investment, I would say that I have been quite behind in investing in mutual funds, stocks, or any other options, right? What I would say my investments have been is in myself, right? I have taken. I mean, if you look at investments from a holistic point of view, where you are learning things, where you are actually working on your own business, and you are putting in that capital from your own end to drive that business. I think that has been the core investment from my side. And what I've seen is it has given better results than a fixed deposit or a mutual fund would give in a year's time, right? So the growth that I am seeing as a business founder is really interesting to see it unfold. So from an investment point, I would say that investing in your own business, working hard for it, getting a team that would support you, I think that is an interesting way to also an interesting way to look at investments.
Yes. Actually, yeah, if you invest for your business, it's the best thing. But the most difficult thing is to get a good team to work with your business idea. And that's the key, I mean, to actually have any good startup. The team is the major driving role, actually. Yeah, nice to hear from you, Malhar, about your actually journey. I would like to know about Lipi, about your journey. I mean, when did you decide to do a chartered accountant, and when did you decide to do this CA thing? I mean, from first you were sure that you want to go into the field of CA, and after becoming CA, that now also you are doing venture capital fund portfolio management, right? So how was this change in journey from a CA to a venture capital fund portfolio management came into your profile? Yes.
Sure. So I think, so my family is full of CAs. Like my dad is a CA. My brother is also a CA. I have, like, my mom's side, my grandfather is also a CA. So there are a lot of CAs in the family. So, growing up, I have always seen all that. And since then, I had decided I want to do that. And, a degree is important, and then you can, switch to anything. Once you have something in hand, you're capable of something, then you can get whatever kind of roles you're looking for. So after I finished my CA last year only, so I'm quite early. So before that, so there's a compulsory articleship training that you have to do during a CA. So that is when I was working in auditing and compliance, where we had to checkbooks of the companies, etc. So after that, so I wasn't much interested in that. So, I had to explore something else. And when that's when I came across the startup ecosystem, which was quite exciting. So I joined as an intern just to, see how all this works, how is it. And fortunately, my skill sets matched with what they were looking for. And, that is when I joined full time as analyst portfolio management. So what I typically do is, so we are a early stage VC fund. So we invest in very early companies, which are, a little more than idea stage, have a little bit of proof of concept, or sometimes they might have a product revenue generating as well. So wide spectrum. So we invest in startups. And what I do is, after we invest, they need a lot of help from us, because they are early stage. This is the first time they're doing something like that. Is when, we as a team help them in whatever they require, either it is the next round of funding or any hiring support or any kind of help, just someone to talk to about what's going on in the business. And even from the women point of view, if I would say, there are a lot of startups which are led by women, and those are also doing very well. And there are a lot of funds which are actually focusing on women startups now, because everyone is seeing that women can also do as good as men can do, business. So there are a lot of new funds also coming up. We also, have tried to do initiatives where we call in women founders to pitch to us, and, we would want to invest in them. So yeah, that has been my journey. And, this is really exciting. I like what I'm doing right now. I like to talk to so many people every day. And yeah, that's the story.
It's so lucky to do something which you actually like. And I think you are very lucky that you found a way that whatever you like, you are doing right now. So nice to know about your entire journey as well. I would like to ask a very basic question. I think, Maitri, if you can address it, then mostly what people think is financial literacy is about investment, just about investing somewhere, right? But can you tell that what actually is financial literacy, and what actually we can define that you are financially independent?
So financial literacy is not only about investing. There's a lot that goes into it, but I also think financial literacy is also a mindset. Like अगर तो आपको basics तो पता ही है, that is needed for any subject. You should know the basics, but for you also have to start using it. Until unless you don't use those concepts, it's of no use. So apart from actually knowing the basics, once you actually start using them in your daily life, that is when you're actually financially literate. When you're actually investing, when you look at the ratios, this is the ratio that I'd studied, this is the basic ratio, this is the PE ratio. So when you actually start combining your basic and your practical knowledge together, I think that is when you become financially literate. And financial independence is also back to, so I think women have the tendency of saving, regardless you're a working woman or you're a housemaker, homemaker, not working. So usually जब ये demonetization आया था, so the households were shaken by the amount of money women had cash around with them. So that is because women have the tendency to save for rainy days. So now, so that is, the logic is correct, but the financial literacy is lacking because they do not understand that the money pada in that dabba is losing its value because of basic inflation. I'm not even going to go into the tens and thousands of other concepts that are lacking there, but something as basic as that understanding that their point is right, that they want to, with the budget that they have, monthly budget, they have that habit, they have that logic or that motive of saving, but they do not understand that just saving that money and putting it aside in a box, in their wallet, or however in a locker, is not going to help them in the future. It's important for that money to be kept somewhere where it earns while you're sleeping, it has a rate of interest, it keeps on earning. So this such basic things. So women as overall generally, they have very good investor traits. So there's this article that Lakshmi wrote, which talks about the inherent traits that women have that make them better investors. So there are too many of them. So the only difference is that उनके पास वो traits तो है, but they're still not able to do or reach their potential, is because of lack of financial literacy. So once that is done, I think they will be literate also, and they will reach financial independence also.
Yes, definitely. Looking forward that all of the people who are there gain a bit more amount of the financial literacy and financial independence as well. I would like to ask Malhar about what is actually the idea upon angel investing. I think you are doing that, right? Angel investment. And shall startup enthusiasts find out potential investors for their business? I mean, from where shall they find the investors? What is there any key that you would like to advise them that, okay, how to find investors for their startup idea, or they should consider taking loans for their investment, or how should they actually find finances for their new idea actually?
Right. So what our platform does is that it helps founders get access to investors, right? So what we have done is we have onboarded angel networks. So what an angel network is, it's a consortium of a group of angel investors coming together and investing in startups so that the risk is diversified. There are subject matter experts in that network who understand what the startup is doing, so that the investment decision is better taken in that scenario. And then going in with even a small ticket size, but bunch of them going together fulfills the working capital needs of that startup, and at the same time the angel investors get to see a part of the action. So what our platform does is that when a startup completes their profile, as in fills in their business details, the industry they are at, the stage at which they're operating, how many customers do they have, what kind of revenues are they looking at in the current year, then what our platform does is that it matches this information to angel networks and VC firms who have a similar investment thesis. And once that matching is done, the investors approach these founders, and then the discussion for the investment goes on. So that's something that we are doing to help founders get the right set of investors. So typically what happens is that a founder would have to approach so many people and then get rejects from them, that some may say that you are not fitting our investment thesis. Someone would say that you're slightly early for us right now. But in our platform, what happens is that the investor messages them first. So there's already a intent for going ahead with the investment in that scenario. So that saves a lot of time for both the parties.
Exactly.
And the investor make a informed decision that, okay, this is the startup founder, and these are the key business details that they have presented, and now it's time to kind of take the conversation ahead. So that's what we are doing. And speaking from the investor's point of view, I think Lipi would be in a much better position to tell you what are the things that they should consider while investing in startups. So that's, I think, one very important point we should cover in this panel discussion from a financial literacy point of view. Because right now, everybody wants to invest in startups, hoping that they get big. But, what are the things that one should keep in mind before doing that?
Yes, Lipi, can you please throw some light upon what should be the investor's perspective about the same?
Sure, that's a good question. So first I can talk a little bit from a fund perspective, and then maybe I can talk from angel investors perspective. So as a fund, I think so a fund invests in a lot of companies, so their risk is easy to diversify. So suppose I invest in 10 companies, the fund invests in 10 companies, at least one will give them a lot of returns. Few may close down, few may not give returns. So I think from a fund perspective, it is still a little easier, but for an angel, it's more difficult. So what we look at is usually the founders, because you have to be sure of so we invest, angels do not have a lot of capacity. So we are usually in the initial stage of investment when the company is just starting out, or may have a little bit revenue. So that time you don't know whether, this business is going to work going forward, whether this idea will actually work out or not. So that is when you typically have to look at the founders, whether you have conviction about the founders, whether these are the people who will be able to run this business. Even if they fail in this idea, you should have the belief in them, whether they will be able to do some other idea with the money that we have given them. So the team is a very important thing. Next being the market opportunity, whether there is a big enough market opportunity for the idea that they are planning. They might think it is a problem, they might be thinking it is a problem, but others might not be thinking that it is a problem. So that also should be something to be considered. One more thing is whether they have a competitive advantage. Like, there should be something different that they are doing. If they're trying to build the same thing that someone else is building, of course, execution is important. So even if they're building the same thing and execute it better, but then the execution is basically their competitive advantage. So there should be some kind of advantage that should be there in the startup, before you invest in them. So these are a few things, and a fund may look at, a higher return. So mostly 20x, 30x kind of return sometimes, but an angel investor may not, be hoping so much returns as well. So from an angel investor point of view, I usually look at the startups which are, my interest area, things that I understand. So I would not put in a startup which is, very confusing for me, or, I am not a tech person, so I would not understand a lot of things that they are doing. So unless I, have someone who has looked at it, or I know that, it is something which I can at least relate a little bit. So I don't understand crypto much. So, I wouldn't really want to invest, because I also wouldn't be able to give them any guidance or any kind of help. So from an angel investor perspective, I think that is something that people should look at.
Yes. Nice to actually hear about angel investment as well as angel investment from a founders as well as from an angel investor point of view. It was good that we have both the people in our conversation to actually get both the ideas. But what generally happens is that most of the people are like me. Means I do 9 to 5 job, right? So most of the people are doing 9 to 5 or a fixed annual income they have, and they are doing some kind of job. Then for such people, what is the policy which they should do apart from their job? How shall they invest for long term, for short term? So if anybody can throw a light upon such people, which is a much of the bunch is like this, right? So
should I answer it and then, sorry, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I would like to just make one point in terms of the typical working class that Dhwani is talking about, right? So just clarifying that investing in startups would be the riskiest asset class, and those who do not have enough runway for such things should probably stay away from it as far as possible, and invest in safer options. And typically how the angel investors that we have talked to, they keep 10% of their portfolio for this risky kind of a investment strategy, where 9 out of 10 startups are probably going to fail. So just, yeah, I mean, that's one point from my side.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. So even when I started investing, I started like 3-4 years back. So initially I used to invest in stock market, how much ever I understand, while I was studying as well. So I think stock market is a good option, but maybe you would not be having a lot of idea on, not very financially literate. So what you can do is you can choose mutual funds instead, where, at least your risk is getting diversified and they are investing on your behalf. So, when I had even I have a salary income. So what I do is I have, at least 30% of it, 20-30% of it, which every month, gets goes to the mutual fund. So that is one thing which salaried people can do, which is a easier option. And other than that, if you are interested in the stock market, in the companies and the stock market, if you are interested in studying them, you can, the basic balance sheet you can go through. There are a few ratios. There are a lot of videos on YouTube also that you can, go and study, and based on that you can invest. Or even there are few companies which are like very safe companies. So you just put your money right now with, those companies which are well known, like TCS or something like that, which your money will be safe there. So you can invest in such companies and, just forget it, keep it for long term. But starting to invest early is very important, rather than just saving. because this will give you the compounding effect and, going forward. So it is basically very important to start early.
Yes, definitely. It's very important to start early actually, and to know in the later stage that, okay, we have not invested about our fixed income.
Yeah, even I agree. I think mutual funds, maybe if you go for the SIP route, I think that is extremely beneficial, because SIP will not only give you the advantage of the volatility, but it will also indicate, it will bring a habit of investing in you. So somebody who's going to do a lump sum investment, he's going to invest that money once, a big chunk amount, and then forget about it till he has enough money to invest again. What SIP does is SIP makes a habit out of you to invest, to save and invest a certain amount, a fixed amount actually, every month for a fixed period of time. So SIP in mutual funds will give you the benefit of volatility also, and will help you start, or at least have that habit of saving and then ultimately investing also. So I think SIP for everybody should be the first step to investing, and then slowly, gradually go to another stocks. We have too many options of products, unlisted equity up to aa gaya hai, too many products. But slowly, gradually. So, and it's always, and for complex products also, you always have advisors in the market. So for products like direct equity, if you take in the example, it is a task. You have to go through the market daily. You have to see the market ka kya ho raha hai, ups and downs. So it is a task. Until unless you yourself are interested and involved, direct equity is also a bit risky. And you can always take help of financial advisors who are in the market. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So I can just learn from you people that, okay, the first thing which we should go in investment is about SIPs, mutual funds, and stock markets. And we should also take guidance from the financial advisors as well. Yes. So thank you so much, everybody, for actually advising and actually motivating people about financial literacy and talking about your journeys as well in this talk. And yeah, if anything else, if you all want to just focus for the young generation out here, you can just tell them, I mean, about investments or about their career or anything, if you would, in career in finance or anything.
No, I think I just agree with Lipi. What she said was to start early is an extremely important point. And you realize that 5 years later, you will not see the returns, the results in that 1 year, which will give you that boost of energy or that rush in you that bhai itna kamaya. But once you see that money in the span of 3 to 5 years, that is when you get that sense of satisfaction also ki bhai, I made a good choice of not spending that 1,000 for a Sunday dinner. Instead I saved it and invested it, and now that 1,000 rupees is something that I can actually maybe get an iPhone for myself, or can able to sponsor a Goa trip with my friends. So things like these, when it comes to investing, you will have to give it time. You should not also be looking at your portfolio on a daily basis. That's not the right approach, because markets daily fall, daily grow. So you should not be looking at it daily, and over a long period of time, markets usually will not disappoint you.
Yeah,
I think really, that is the main thing, to start investing and invest early. That's it.
Yes. So the key liner over here is that we should start early, I mean, to invest. Yes, yeah. Exactly.
The rest will fall into place. It did for all three of us. All we had to do was start. So
exactly. So yes, thank you so much for spending your time and coming over here. I really am so lucky to have you all in this panel discussion. And I myself, Dhwani Mehta, I am actually representing Click community here, and we are coming forward with many new events as well in future, which can be tech events. And so do follow us in LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram as well. And let's look forward to have a great future together and a bright future together. Yes. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.